Welcome to Multiply Yourself with Adam Michael. Join the conversation at multiply-yourself.com.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Multiply Yourself podcast. Well, it's been some time since my last episode. We've had a few changes around here, a rebrand, and a whole lot of other things that hopefully will unfold soon. And you can now check out my blog at adammadison.com. So a different website than the original. But everything's still the same and still lots of great content on outsourcing and working with remote teams. In this episode, I wanted to talk to you about communication. Because one of the most important characteristics or behaviors that I believe we all need to exhibit is good communication. And this is something that's important no matter what working environment you operate in. However, of course, when you're working with and using a remote team and you are sometimes physically located thousands of kilometers apart, then good communication becomes even more critical than a usual working environment in an office. And I personally have determined that communication is one of the key requirements of my business's productivity. And this is due to the fact that for any given project, multiple team members are contributing to it. So each of us effectively communicating with the others on the project regarding all the different aspects of the task that we are working on is absolutely critical to everyone, to each team member being able to do their job effectively. Now, there are 3 key methods of communication that you can use when you're working with your remote team. And these are the 3 different types that I use. Number 1, I'm going to call instant communication. And this is primarily used for times when your office or your virtual office is active and working. And for my team, that is general business working hours for their local time. And as I've talked about before, we use Google Apps, which is a self-hosted platform on our own domain. And we use the Google Talk, it's now called Google Hangouts, which is their instant messenger to communicate between our team members. Just like the name says, it's instant communication. It's an instant messenger. I can open a chat box and begin a conversation with any of my team and even have multiple people, so a group chat within that one conversation. And there are, of course, other types of instant messaging or instant communication, such as Skype. You could even use a telephone to make a phone call or an SMS. But the purpose of these methods is for quickly getting the attention of your team members. And I even have to often use SMS if I need to contact someone urgently. Which is a great thing because these days everyone carries a mobile phone, so I know that they can instantly receive that message. With a lot of my team, I don't expect them to reply because international text messaging rates can be higher from their country, but it's a good way for me just to get a message to them. So instant communication is the best method for the daily working within your team. Number 2 is what I call static communication rather. And this basically is done via email. That's the main method that we use for static communication in our team. It's generally a one-sided conversation in which you author an email or send out some important information to the individuals, and you can use it to advise them of news. Anything that's kind of non-critical and non-urgent, and particularly something that they might need to refer back to. The great feature of emails is that it can be sent to a large amount of people at any given time. You can email your entire team about important information, and it's a reliable source of information delivered to their inbox for the next time that they log in. Personally, I just have a group set up in my Gmail account so I can quickly just shoot out a message to my entire team. Doesn't matter what time of day it is, they'll get it the next time they check their inbox. And I also love email as a static form of communication because it's not an interruption. An instant message when I ping them for a chat is an interruption to the task that they're working on, which we all know can be quite annoying and frustrating at times. So email is a great form of static communication. It's not an interruption, and it's something that I use for anything that's not critical or not urgent. And the third type of communication I refer to as archivable communication. And this is for information that generally in my team is not specific to a certain person or a certain time frame. It's for communication like training, lists of passwords, processes, and guidelines, things like that. The method of archivable communication that I use is Dropbox these days. So I have folders of information on there, folders of training videos, documents, processes. I used to use a WordPress website, which is still a great method, something that you can use. And you can set that up with a login and give each of your team a username and a password, set up different levels of access quite easily. And I used to post all my training and documentation through a WordPress site, but I now do it via Dropbox primarily. And it's a great thing to have an archive of information and a way to communicate that's static that way. And, I often find myself in instant communication. So when I'm having to speak to a team member about a particular task, being able to refer them to an archived piece of communication, such as a training video, that they can access and find the information they they have there themselves. So they're the three types of communications that I suggest and use in my own dealings with my remote team. So instant communication for that which is critical and urgent, static communication for something that can be delivered to a team member or a group but doesn't necessarily have an urgency about it, and archivable communication, which is that which your team can access time and time again as they need it. And also a great thing, it's not stuff that you need to keep communicating. You can simply refer them back. Now, whichever method you use isn't really important. You can find the one that best works with your team. But however, it is critical that you communicate well. And I believe it's our responsibility as the employers to create communication methods and processes for our team to use. So not only are we communicating well with them, but they're communicating well with each other.
Thank you for listening. Subscribe for more content at multiply-yourself.com.